Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Got a great one for you today. We're going to learn how to play Reelin In The Years by the great Steely Dan. We recently lost Walter Becker, but we're going to do a good tribute to him here over a couple of lessons. We're going to do this note for note, all the rhythm and lead and harmony guitar parts. Now the lead guitar parts here are actually played by Elliott Randall. All of them except for the harmony guitar parts, which were recorded by Jeff Baxter. So we've got a lot to learn here, so I'm just going to jump into it. We're going to start here with that opening guitar solo there, which is just immortal in the world of guitar. So we're in standard tuning here, and we have this first phrase. All right, so this is going to be really based around A mixolydian, but this opening lick does have a little bit of chromaticism in it. All right, so it's just a couple of passing tones thrown in there. But we're going to start here with a pull off from 7, 6 to 5 on the B string. Then you're going to kind of mute that note and then pick that 5th fret again. And then you're going to reverse that, hammer on 5, 6, 7. Over to 5 on the high E string. So we have this. One more time. Then you're going to pick 5 again, down to 7 on the B. Then hammer 5 to 7 on the high E string. And then pull off back to that 5. All right. Lots of fun. Now the next phrase. All right, so we're going to start here with another one of those kind of just a quick little mute. It's like a quick little down, up, down on the muted strings. And then you're going to hammer on that 5, 6, 7 again. And when you get over to up to that 5th fret on the high E string, you're going to hit that a few times. And then we're going to do a hammer 5 to 7 on the B, pull back off to 5. Then hammer 5 to 7 again. Over to 5th fret on the G. And when you play that 5th fret on the G, just slight bend. Just kind of pull it slightly downward to the floor. Over to the 7th fret on the A string. All right, now the next phrase is a cool one. Sounds like this. All right, so that kind of goes up a little bit. It's a little bit longer. So we're going to start here with this sliding to the 4th fret there on the D string, then 2, 4 on the G. Then you pick that 4th fret again and do a quick little slide up and back down to the 4th. So up to 5th and back down. So and then back down to the 2nd fret here. So you kind of just do that slide, go up, come down, and pull off to the 2. And just do that lick a few times. All right, now after the 3rd time, you're going to end it there with the 5th fret there on the D. All right, now you want to bar across the 2nd fret of the D and the G and hammer on, kind of Hendrixy thing there, hammering on, pick those 2 strings, but hammer on the 4th fret on the D string. Then pick that again, and then back down to the 2nd fret double stop. All right, from there we have this 5-4 on the A, and then 2-0 on the low E string. All right, then we're going to start the ascending riff, which looks like this. So after you do this, back to the 2 on the low E string, open A. Let me just play through real quick. So we're basically, when you get 2-0, 2, and then go to the open A, and then slide into the 4th fret on that string, and then play. So kind of everything's in time, so it's like open A, 2nd fret, slide to 4, 2 on the D, 2 on the G. From there, you're going to slide into the 4th fret on the G, and then play 3 on the B, 3 on the high E. Then slide 4 up to 7 there on the G, and then grab the 7th fret there on the high E, and then slide up to the 11th fret on the G, and then pick the 10th fret a couple times on the high E string, and then back down to 11. So all the way from the bottom. All right, the next phrase. All right, so this one kind of really moves down. We're going to start here, sliding 13 to 15 on the high E string, and then down to the 16 real quick on the G, back to the 15, and then you start this little kind of sequence through the scale. So the first half of it, you're going to pick the top note twice, then slide it down to the next note in the scale, then do it again from there. So first you pick that top note twice, and then when you get down to the 9th fret, I'm going to go through these notes for you, don't worry. You start picking the top note, same length, it's like you pick the top note 3 times. All right, so we're going to start here with this sequence down after we get. Now the note is going to start with the 15, pick twice, slide down to 14. Then that lick on the starting from the 14th fret, slide down to 12. Then starting on the 12th fret. Then starting on the 10th. So 15 to 14, 14 to 12, 12 to 10, 10 to 9. So you remember those notes and just remember the pattern. All right, so you can do that with all downstrokes, and then when we get to the 9th fret, you're going to do a quick down, up, down, down, up, down, then slide it to 7. Now you're going to go 7 to 5 with that same pattern, and then 5 to 3 with that same pattern. Then you can pick 3 twice. This is where it's going to change a little bit. 3 twice, and you're going to pull off to the open string. Then pick the open string twice. And then you're going to start here. We're going to start kind of going across strings like this. We're going to have 3rd fret on the high E string twice to 3rd string on the B string twice. Then what that is the 4th fret on the G twice, to the 3rd fret on the B twice, over to the resolve it at the 5th fret on the D. So I have this. Then come over to the 5th fret on the A string. You're going to pick that twice, to the 5th fret on the D. So after doing a quick 16th notes there, then you go to the 8th note. It's just going to go up through the scale, go up. kind of chromatically 2, 3, 4, 5 on the A string. Then over to the 5th fret on the D string, back to the open A. And then we have this kind of that's sliding into the 7th fret on the D, that 5th fret on the G again with a slight bend on it, back to the 7 there on the D. And then 7, 5, 4 on the A to end it with this little just a little interval here, major third interval from the 5th fret on the low E, 4th fret on the A. So we have this. All right, now what's going on underneath that? The rhythm guitar part is pretty cool. It's on a probably a little bit cleaner guitar tone that I'm using here. I'm just going to go ahead and play through it a little bit. It's very repetitive though, so it shouldn't take you very long to get it down. So like I said, it's really kind of based around 2 licks. So we're going to start here with this, the 3rd fret there on the low E string a couple times, and then quick little slide into the 2nd fret. This is from the 1st fret, but the 1st fret is really just kind of a grace note. Into the open G. And then we have 0, 2, 0 on the D. So we have this. Now this whole time, we have kind of a swing 8th feel, kind of almost like a triplet feel. Boom, ba, boom, bum, ba, boom, bum. So this is pretty much throughout most of the song, you're gonna feel that. So we have this. So after you've done that twice, then we go to the A version of. So that's the open A string twice, then sliding 3 to 4. On the A string real quick, just quick little grace note. Over to the 2nd fret on the D and the G together. Then the open A, and then 4-2 on the D. So that's the main riff there. Sometimes you'll see him. Sometimes kind of dig into it a little bit more. So far we have this. Repeat. Now just at the very beginning of the song underneath this solo, he adds a little variation right here at this part, which is the 2nd fret there on the D and the B string with the G string in between it. And then we have the same thing, but it's the 4th fret on the D, 3rd fret on the B with the open G in between. And then the 5th fret on the D and the B with that open G between. And then back to the 3 and 4 chord. All right, so it's kind of very repetitive there. And now we have this verse section, which is kind of awkward how it comes in. And what you're hearing there is some kind of layered guitar parts with some piano. So I've kind of made sure all those notes are in there for this version of playing it here. When you see them play it live, I usually, back in the day, they kind of just, they kind of focused on the top 2 strings, but we're going to make sure those notes that happen around on the G string, which really you can hear louder on the piano, are in there as well. So this part, which is a really cool riff when you put it all together, but a little bit tricky to play, sounds like this. So that's got a lot going on there. So he starts with this, with just an A major chord down here. Now you want to keep the 5th fret here on the high E string through pretty much this entire riff. So what you're going to do starting is the 2 melody notes on the B string with that 5th fret on the high E string. So that's going to be 3rd fret on the B, 5th fret on the B, with that melody note up top. Then you're going to take it to this D major chord. So that's going to now adding the note on the G string at the 7th fret, and then the 7th fret on the B, and the 5th fret on the high E string. But you're going to want to bar at least the first 2 strings with that index finger, because you'll see coming up next. We have that. So we're going to strum across, and then pick the G, and then the top 2 strings. And then do the same thing, just lower to the 6th fret there on the G string, and then bar across the 5th fret on the B and the high string. Now we're going to come down here to the 3rd fret, the same chord, just move down, and add that 5th fret there on the high E string. Pick across those 3 strings, then move the melody up to the 5th fret on the B, then back to the 3. Then back to that E. The A chord. So we have this. Repeat. All right, now we have a variation. So that's going to be 5/7 on the B string. And remember, you're keeping this bar here so you get that top note. So when you move up here now, it's the 9th fret, it's kind of a stretch on the G string, and then the 8th fret on the B. And that same pattern, strum across, then G string, top 2, and then move it down 1 fret with just the 3rd and 4th finger. And then now to the 7th fret on the G, 6th fret on the B, and then back to that A major chord, which we saw before. And then we kind of repeat it the same. So it's that riff that I just played there twice, followed by this different section, followed by the same riff we started with. All right, now that takes us to the chorus section. Chorus section has a pretty easy rhythm guitar part as well. So I'll play that first before we do the solo. All right, so really that's based around 2 riffs really kind of put together. So one is on the G. Now there's slight variations. When they play it live, they kind of won't even do it the same way every time. It's the same thing kind of as recorded. It's not very systematic of how they're playing them. But if you know the basic riff, it's very easy to kind of do your own variations or just kind of stick with the basic riff. It really pretty much sounds the same, has the same effect. So let's start here, kind of a really palm muted. I'm on a tone a little bit heavier than they're using. They're using a cleaner tone than I am. But we have, so that's just the 3rd fret there on the low E, the 2nd fret on the A, the open G twice, and then the 2 on the D string, and then you're going to have the open A and the open D. So that's kind of just a variation of it. And then you can play it like this, which the next time it's just 3rd fret twice, same beginning, and then just the open D and G together, and then the 2 on the A and the D, and then the open A and the D. So you can see it's just kind of, it's all based around that one little section. They're just kind of doing little variations each time. All right, then we take it to the A chord. All right, so that's just the open A string, slide into 4 on the A, and it plays the A chord, then make it down to a D chord. So you're gonna bring down the 3rd fret on the B, 4th fret on the D, then the open A string, and just repeat that a few times. Second time through, there's a little pause there in the chorus, and it just goes and holds that A chord and goes back to those 2 riffs. Just so the thing is not to think that you got to do it the same way every time. Just kind of do little variations around it, and then when they end the chorus with just off of an F sharp minor chord. Kind of chugging along the bottom strings in the top 2. All right, but we have a cool guitar solo that happens after that little pause in the chorus. We have the first chorus solo. So let me play through that first chorus solo. All right, so we're going to start up here up top, the 19th fret on the high E string. Pick it a couple times. Pull off to 15. Pick that 15 again. Over to 16 on the G. As you hold it, it kind of slides it down and back up the string. The next lick. So that's sliding some double stops here from the 12th fret up to the 14 on the high E string and the B. Then pick it again, then play 12 on the B, 12 on the high E string. All right, next phrase. So that's sliding the 10th fret on the B and the high E up to 12, and then do kind of sliding 10 up to 12, back down to 10, over to 10 on the high E string. And then we have this cool lick that ends this solo. So that's that 14, the first note. It's kind of held a little bit longer, so 14. And then we have 14, this is on the high E string. Then we start the kind of, so that's going to be 14 on the B to 12 on the high E string. Then 12, 14 on the B. 10, 12 on the B, 11 on the G to 10 on the B. Try this. Then 11 to 9 on the G, then 9, 11 on the D, down to 7. All right, so that one's it's got a really cool. It's not that hard to play. That last lick's a little hard, but it's pretty fun. The second chorus, they go through the same section, same verse, same chorus, and we have a solo over the second chorus, which is a lot easier to play. So I'm going to get to that one next. This one happens at the 1 minute and 43 second mark. Sounds like this. So pretty simple right there. So we're going to start here with the sliding the 4th fret on the G up to the 3rd fret on the high E string, and then pick that 4 again on the G, slide up to 7, then hit the 7 on the high E string with it. Then it's pretty much the same thing, just 2 frets higher. Whole thing moved up 2 frets. All right, and then we had the last one, which is really sliding into the 4th fret to the high E string on the 3rd fret, and then do it a couple more times. And then All right, so we're going to take a look at the first interlude section, the first harmony guitar section at the beginning of the next video. I'll see you then.